I have been absolutely awash, completely and totally fascinated by what is happening in Syria and cannot begin to explain to you how fascinating this is. I just did an hour on my private channel where I am completely unencumbered and not concerned by what I say or algorithms or being demonetized or shelved or anything. It's the only way, and I hope people one day will recognize that. Because I, as you probably know, do not live in a country that is inhabited by most people. What I find interesting, I know this may sound very, very highfalutin, but what I find interesting, nobody does. I don't see things the same way. I live in a country that is inhabited by people who live in a not you, of course, but live in a third grade, third world kind of view. Things that are complicated, they don't like. Things that are involving geography and history and perspective and nuance, I'm telling you, in this country, forget it. You can forget it. It's a waste of time. We talk in this country right now about Pete Hegseth. There are hours upon hours of discussions about Pete Hegseth. This fascinates people. There, you can't get enough. Did you hear what Megyn Kelly? Who the cares about Pete Hegseth? Do you know what happens here? What is going on? Oh my God. The Syria thing, this triangulation. I don't even know if did Assad's plane, they're tracking it and all of a sudden it drops 6,000 meters. I mean, oh my God. This is the stuff that I haven't, this is the greatest, most fascinating subject. And I am completely alone in my country. No one cares about this. They talk about Pete Hegseth. Honestly. And I like him. Do you like Pete? I like Pete. Do you like Pete? I like Matt Gaetz. Did you like Matt? This is where we are. This. Oh my God. Did you see Trump shake Macron's hand? That was cool. He shook his hand. Did you see how hard that was? Did you see that? Dear God. What is the matter? Where do we exist? Holy Jesus. My friends, get ready for something this morning. Remember, I did my private channel stuff, and now I got to get back into the world of YouTube. Lower the ceiling, turn down the lights, turn down the thinking. Don't go too deep into this. Nobody wants to know this stuff. So while we get ready, and as the country is still paralyzed by debt, kids and young people in particular, listen to these words. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,600. $215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even helped negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. This is the thing which you should give this year as a gift to everybody you know. It's the globe. And it is a source of fascination to me that I cannot put into words. Not the globe, not the sphere, but the countries and what is happening right now with Syria and how Russia had, I think, 4 military bases in Latakia and Tartus, and they had to leave. This was Russia's connection to the Middle East. I want you to imagine this. How do I do this? Again, I've got to remember, this is YouTube now. Don't get too much into this. This is YouTube. Take it easy. This is not you, but this is Romper Room. We don't talk about this stuff. So I'm gonna break from that and assume that there's some adults here, but being an American, you are stuck in the position sometimes of we have one country, we have one language, we really have one faith as Christian, or maybe agnostic, or we got Jews. In fact, there's a I think it's a greater Jewish population in this country than in the world, and there's some others as well. But for the most part, we have singular, countries. We don't have like in Syria, it went from Alawite to the Sunnis and rebels. I mean, it is so fascinating. And what I did was I started with, listen to Mohammed Marandi, who was absolutely brilliant. He's Iranian or Iranian. I listened to him. I listened to Al Jazeera. I listened to Israel, get their perspective. RT. Nothing here, because what are we talking about? I like Pete Hegseth. Do you like Pete Hegseth? Pete's cool. You think he'll make it? I don't know. What do you think about it? This Pete Hegseth. This is the level of, or maybe we'll talk about the killer. There's some new stuff about that, which nobody even wants to get into that because you don't want to get conspiracy theory. You don't want to do it. But this, and we've got, brace yourself, Marco Rubio to figure this out. We are royally, because we have a moron who is talking about Secretary of State. And we've got this forget the UN, forget So, but that's okay. This just took a complexity you can't even begin to grasp. So remember, it's there. It's on YouTube, but you gotta go elsewhere. You gotta find. You gotta triangulate. This is the most interesting thing in the world, and I guarantee you, Joy Reid's not going to be talking about it. President Trump, God bless him. You know what they'll be doing at Mar-a-Lago or Bedminster? YMCA. YMCA. Isn't that cool? You can get it. That's it. That's it. Or Trump at Notre Dame. Did you see how Jill was looking at Trump? Did you see how Ash, I think his granddaughter was there? Did you see Macron and his wife? You know, Candace doesn't think the wife thinks she's a man. And this is where we are. And this is considered to be complicated. This is it. The Middle East is going to, I mean, this one, oh my God. Remember when people went from initially from the notion of nuclear, like what the atom was, from Maxwell and prior to that, it was the nucleus, and there's the electrons kind of spinning around in a little orbit. Now they're not even, we don't even know where they are. We can approximate where we don't know anything. You've got you've got left turns and right turns, and you've got gravitons and neutrinos and quarks and sparks and this. I mean, it's like, what the hell is what is this? The closer we get, like a Mandelbrot fractal, we get deeper and deeper. It's like, this is incredible. And you stop, and let's go to Fox Morning News, YMCA. That's it. That's who we are. And as long as this becomes the critical way of thinking for most of us, we are doomed. We will always be the laughingstock of the world. I'm thinking right now, I was watching Putin and Lavrov, and I would give anything, but anything, to have one day a leader, a president, a secretary of state who has the countenance and the cool and the perspective and the, dare I say, savoir-faire and the reference, who understands something, who has been around and understands histories. And if I talk about Alawites, and what's with Russia and Syria, and where does that come from? And it goes back to Bashar al-Assad. I mean, Hafez or Hafez. Remember Hams, and he was the Air Force. Remember, they're Alawites. They're not Sunnis. They're different. And then he and Brezhnev became buddies, and that's why there was that connection with Russia. And this Syria, it's who owns it. Anyway, it's, oh my God. If you love moving parts, if you love, I was watching the other day on YouTube, somebody was suggesting that the movie No Country for Old Men, they thought was complicated. People were acting like it was the most complicated thing anybody's ever seen. Do you, the sugar disease? We, in this country, in particular, we need drastically to infuse, to do something, to retake, re-understand, restart our level of comprehension, or else we are doomed. And for the longest time, we've just been used to this. Do you know, yesterday, what was yesterday? Yesterday, December 7th. Did anybody talk about that? Nope. Do you know that in the granddaddy world of, in the world of, dare I say, conspiracy theories, the biggie, the absolute biggie, not smalls, but the absolute mother of them all is Pearl Harbor. It is so fascinating. It will keep you up at night to this day. And there was no conversance, none. This was yesterday. This is World War II. False flags. World War II was a false flag with the Gleiwitz incident. This is what Hitler did with the radio station. It's all about deception and fraud. The history of the world is pretend and people being duped. But what we do, we've got a different one. Not only do we still have people being duped and whatever it is, we have people today, and this is important to understand and grasp, we have people today who will sit there and will shut you down if you go deeper. I was explaining to someone the other day, I tried in vain. I said, is anybody interested in the People's Action Institute? Crickets. Absolute crickets. Crickets. I said, do you understand what is happening here? They are releasing more pictures from every angle of this person there is. Do you understand what is happening? I guess. No, you don't. They're releasing pictures and they're not telling you his name. Why are they not telling you his name? We know the name of everyone. Where is this? Watch anybody on TV. Watch anything. There's no critical thinking. They don't even go into it. Why? Because you are expected to not go too deep. We don't want you to ask questions about stuff like this. Don't you understand? Don't you understand how this thing works? We do not want you to be a part of this, asking questions about things like, oh, I don't know, what's happening in Syria, what's happening here, what's happening with the killer, what's happening in Israel? Forget it. I mean, you can forget it. I swear to God, you can forget it. There's nothing. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right now. And I know you're different, but we have got to figure out a way, somehow figure a way to get people to understand what the hell is going on in the world. How do we do this? I've made so many wonderful little notes today, little wonderful notations, because you have no idea. Nobody's talking about Marco Rubio. They're talking about Pete Hegseth. I have no idea why. He's an idiot. And that is exactly why people want him there, because he's an idiot. We love idiots. We do not want people there. We want we want these fools. I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. I don't know how to put it. We love fools. Let me give you an example. There is this group of folks who love characters, and we love characters like, for example, Pete Hegseth. And I am fascinated. And I was talking to a friend of mine who happens to be from another place. And I said, it's funny. We have these, I'm trying to get this one. Yes. This, here we go. There is this group of people who watch Fox News. And I said, and forgive me. And to them, they live in the world of Fox News. They do. They live there. They live. This is their political party. This is their political party. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. They're not Republicans. They're not Democrats. They live in a political party. Okay? This is it. And the other day, when they had this Patriot show, and I'm saying, would you stop with the Patriot stuff and let's get down to business? What are we talking about? No, they say, no. We enjoy this too much. We enjoy this Patriot thing. Please do not ruin our talk about patriotism. We just love to talk about patriot. Okay, fine. Well, first of all, you've got Syria. That's number one. Number two, you've got this killer. And this killer very well may be either, and I'm not suggesting this, but the other day I said this, an Antifa-like movement. And the People's Action Institute, which could be, you might say, Maoist, even though most people can't say what a Maoist is. This is the people to watch. The issue, which is the most important, and you will not be hearing anybody on any show today, on any cable news, is to explain how is it that people are actually and actively supporting the murder of a doctor or person because of the perceived callousness, perceived and rightly so, of the insurance industry. Raul Rodriguez says his name is known at the hostel on Amsterdam Avenue. That is precisely correct. So why? Huh? He used a fake ID, but the point is that we know his name. And there are people who can say, let me explain this to you. You don't? Oh, look at this. Oh, this is, somebody said, Newsmax, my choice over Fox. Oh, dear God, huh? What? It's even sadder, yeah. Dear God. Newsmax. Oh, my God. He wrote this proudly. He said, oh, not me. Oh, no. I like Newsmax. I like Greg Kelly. This is children. It's like I don't know what to do. It's like you're eating Pop-Tarts and I want to show you, Indian. This is where we are. We live in a group of children. We like this cartoonized. Let me go back to what I'm saying. We live in the group of people. We live, how do we say this? We live in a country. We live in a city, right here, I should say, where every major intel hub is here. Now, not that you need to get in the car and take the one trade upstairs. No. But the point is, they're here. CIA, FBI, NSA, the UN, every satellite, Five Eyes, you name it. And I guarantee you, if somebody said, I want this guy's name now, scour, he's on Facebook. He's on YouTube. He's somewhere. He's somebody's girlfriend. He's a boyfriend or whatever. They can find out like that. We are telling the people of the world that we can't even find a guy who comes in on a bus, rides a little bike using a debit card, takes an Uber, goes to a Starbucks. There's new pictures of him. We've got pictures of him smiling, pictures of him frowning, pictures of him here, there. Car before, and we found a backpack. It's filled with Monopoly money. You see where they went to that Bethesda, the Bethesda fountain to look for the gun? What good is the gun going to do? He's dead. You find the gun. Terrific. Yep, that's the gun, all right. Is that the gun that he's had? Yeah, we got the picture of him. The hell with the gun. Don't worry about the gun. The gun is not, we're not trying to say, well, we found the gun on this guy and we don't know if the ballistics match. Okay, that might be interesting, but the gun is not important. Why do you think nobody wants you to know this guy's name? Is it because we don't want him to? Is it because we're in on it? Is it because there's a movement within our country that actually wants to target these bastards? And is there a part of you that says, you know what? If this cold-blooded feller from these horrible whatever the hell these things are called, these oh God, the healthcare industry who've denied people, you know what? So be it. There's a lot of people out there who think this. You know the level of complexity of this? We've got Syria over here. We got this story. Do you know what this story represents? You're not going to find it on Newsmax. Newsmax. Hey, I'm Greg Kelly, and I wanted the Pete Hegseth thing more than him, and I'm better looking than him. He's just as screwed up. This is where we are. We have cartoonized the world. We are children. Wake up! You can do it. Let me pull you out of this world you're living in. You are wallowing in cartoon land. Wake up! Yesterday, December the 7th, people couldn't tell you anything about it. Oh my God. It's incredible. Let me ask you a question. And this is this thing which I never thought even remotely possible. See, because if I thought that if I thought that what I was saying wasn't really the majority of the case, I wouldn't care about it. But let me ask you this. What if I told you the following postulate? This is changing the subject. Oh, here's another one too. You're changing the subject. That's my favorite. Well, he keeps going. He was talking about Syria. It's like, you're not paying attention to Syria anyway. What difference does it make? Yeah, I know, but he's talking about that. I don't know. Okay, this is a new topic. If there was a cure for cancer, let's say somebody at some lab somewhere figured out there was a cure for cancer and figured out some kind of a protein synthesis or some kind of process or processes or something that allowed itself to create either angiogenesis or whatever the particular, how these neoplasms are produced. And if somebody said, I'm going to patent this and I'm going to win the Nobel Prize or we're going to stop cancer, do you think there's a possibility of somebody saying, oh, no, you're not? This would bankrupt the medical institution. Cancer research, cancer treatment, cancer meds, cancer hospitals, cancer insurance. This would bankrupt the healthcare system. You are not going to release this. Is there any chance of that being true? Anybody? Anybody? You think that's possible? Do you think that we could? Oh no, you're talking about sugar and cancer again. What is this is what I gotta do? Let me just do this. I gotta just turn I can't read the comments. I can't. I swear to God, when I see, I mean it. I'm telling you, I'm trying my best. There are these little pockets of worlds who will reduce cancer, as an example, to sugar. We did this yesterday. I don't know where this comes from. I don't know how anybody's like, are you kidding me? Do you really think, do you know if I took you to an oncology wing, if we went to MD Anderson or Sloan Kettering or any, and you say sugar, they would say, "What are you talking about?" But this captivates people. It's weird. I want to know, do you not like the complexity of things? Do you not? I don't know what it is. I don't belong here. I don't belong here. I recognize this fact. But let me go on. Do you think it's possible? The answer is yes. Not only is it possible, it's probably probable. There is something that's happening right now. We live in a world. This is why. And again, I do my hour show. I do my regular channel. I can say whatever I want. And then this. We live in a world right now where, and it's so funny, somebody will be upset. It's like, I can't write the word good. Okay, you're right about that. That is a problem. You don't know what I go through. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. There was this idea years ago that said, let's take people, let them, Americans, enjoy this thing they think is called free speech via an introduction of an instrument, namely a phone or a laptop or something. Let's do that. Let's introduce this. And then let's tell them, and this is important, then let's tell them that they can't say certain things because it's not proved, or it's misinformation. And let's come up with this idea. Let's take Snopes, PolitiFact, something, and let's say, no, there's no evidence that they would ever suppress cancer cures. So we're going to shut down what you're saying because it's misinformation. We're going to shut it down. Or we're going to stop you. We're going to demonetize you or deplatform you or whatever it is. And we're going to put a thing. So what do you think the effect of that is? Well, number one, people would say, well, first of all, I don't care about this because I'm going to say whatever I want and I don't really care. Well, then you're not going to do it here. So then you're gone. The brave souls who said, you're not going to tell me what to say. You're gone. Then the other ones would say, okay, I'll kind of tone it down. And then they watch what they say. But then there's this other world that says, I'm just not going to say anything. And that's called prior restraint and the chilling effect. That's what's happening right now. And then you have these things called algorithms, and the algorithms are put into place where they are trying to find certain words. We've seen it. Mrs. L and I we're constantly fascinated by how, if ever there is a woman, if ever there is anybody, woman or not, who is so 100% focused on just the plight of children and the like, will have certain word, that's limited review, this may not be appropriate, and there's nothing there because the algorithm doesn't know how to appreciate the nuance. It doesn't understand the context. Spandex says, when Hep 3 was cured, that peed off Big Pharma. Well, among others, to be sure. But if we were to suggest that, nobody would even remotely discuss what is happening. It's weird. We are living in so much. This is like Soviet Union, Stalin, Iron Curtain. We live in the most incredible self limitation where people, it's like they censor themselves. Let me give you another example of something which is so important. And I don't know why, but this is something which I find to be very, 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 very critical. Right now, when I talk about preparewithlionel.com, a little radioactive thing there, we are in the middle of one of the scariest times ever. And who is our Secretary of State? Potentially Marco Rubio. He is going to sign off. They are going to come to him and they're going to say, okay, sign off here, Marco. Okay, there you go. That's it. Thank you. Syria is bad, right? Okay, good. Thank you very much. Phoebe, what do you think? Okay, good. There you go. Thank you. I don't even know where to start with this one, but I don't know. People say that's Syria. We are looking at something that the Democrats are going to plan, and they are going to have so much fun because they want the Trump presidency, number 2, to be a catastrophe. They are so pissed off at themselves. They are so pissed off what happened with Kamala and Tampon Timmy and others. They can't see straight. So they want to say, okay, you want to change the world? Watch this. They're going to do everything in their power to bring complete and total collapse, disaster, anything. And up until now, the people who were in charge of, dare I say, modification of atmospheric conditions, people who are involved of unions, labor unions, people who can do, have been pretty much, put it this way, these folks actually were in charge of a medical system that mandated genital mutilation, and not one Republican could stop it. Not one. Not Josh Hawley, Jim Jordan, John Kennedy, nobody. You think these people, you think what? They don't have any power now? They're laughing their ass off and say, do you know what we did? So let me tell you something right now. You better get real scared, if that's the word you need. And you're going to have to realize they're going to come after your guns, your gold, crypto. I don't even know what, I don't know how I have no idea. They're going to figure something out. I don't know how. I don't know enough about blockchain in order to figure this thing out, but it's going to be disastrous because they love chaos. And let me just say something to you one more time. If you do not have the bare minima of just being able to prepare for just stores closing, I'm not asking you to worry about Syria or Tartus or Latakia or any of this stuff. But right now, preparewithlionel.com. This is so simple. This is you just being able to handle a week of not being able to go to the store. That's it. And right now, there's a 4 weeks of a deal, which is incredible. So that's just it. I mean, I am telling you, there are people who are walking around right now and they say, if something went wrong and you couldn't get to that store, or if there's any hiccup in shipping and the like, forget it. And when we always talk about this, I never forget my friend Mike Lindell from mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. That son of a gun. Don't ever forget what they did to him. Don't ever forget that Christmas is 17 days away. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. That's it. You got that? Good. Now let me explain something also to you. We live in a world right now where we need to bring people in and say what you are being told regarding Syria, Middle East, Hezbollah. Oh, I found out there's another new, I thought I knew the names. Morandi is the best from Iran, explaining this new group, because remember, Americans they're not going to follow this. But before we had this thing called Al-Qaeda. What's that? It meant the base. It was our word. It was our word. It was the base. They didn't refer to themselves. We did. We call it that. Then there was ISIS. And then ISIL, because of the Levant, they want to throw that in there because that was kind of Obama's dig to Israel. Then there was Daesh. Oh, ISIS, Islamic State, ISIS. We don't like Islamists because that's a kind of a negative. Then there was Boko Haram, Al-Aqsa, and then the militias. And now we throw in Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis. They don't know. Couldn't tell you what any of this stuff means. But we know about Peter. I don't like pink handkerchiefs. Pete Hugs, I like his tattoo. He has a tattoo, a big tattoo on his chest. And I thank you, Mrs. Falbo. I like Pete Hegseth. We'll talk about Pete Hegseth. And did you see Trump shake his hand? They will do this because they will stupid you down and they treat you like you're retarded. And many of Americans are exceedingly retarded, and they love this. And they've conned themselves into thinking, this is great news. Let's have Mark Levin yell. Oh my God. Okay. So if there was a cancer cure and somebody were to find it, do you think it would be suppressed? Absolutely. Do you think we will ever really find out the truth regarding what happened during, I can't even say, because remember the algorithms are working. The Rona. Do you remember that? Do you think we're ever going to find out about that? No. Don't bring this up. The real feces commence on January 21st. Well, we're doing it right now, Spandex. And the president's got to realize he's got to stay away from a lot of these shows. He does. But going back, cancer cures? No. 9/11? No. The Rona? No. China? Shh. December 7th, yesterday, all forgotten. JFK. Nothing. It's considered nothing. And the best thing ever, this is the best. And Rogan and others should recognize this. Do you understand the psyop, the military psyop you're going through by this sudden, this is incredible, this sudden YouTube love affair of what exactly? Of what? The military. Shows about the CIA and Delta Force and all these cool guys with the tats who were Delta Force and SEAL Team 6. The mayor of Baghdad and Tora Bora and how cool they were. Sean Ryan, Rogan's doing it. Hey, this is great. Tell us your story. Yeah, man. Were you a sniper? Yeah, snipers are cool. What were you in? I was SEAL Team 6. I was Delta. I was Green Beret. I was Special Forces. Were you? Tell us about that. Yeah, we got Bin Laden. Ooh. You don't see what this is about? You don't see this? Remember years ago when the CIA used to have on their website, if you're interested in doing a movie about the war and you want to have somebody come forward, why don't you come to our, we'll help you. We'll do everything in our power to help you. Say, oh my God, do you see what we're doing here? And people will say, what about the Smith-Mundt Act? I put in my newsletter and say, they didn't repeal the Smith-Mundt Act. They supplemented it by basically changing it. You do know you are being not gaslit or gaslighted, but there is this wild pro, but not military. And you might think, well, what's the big deal? This is Frank Capra couldn't come up with something better than that. Now, you might say to yourself, well, this is good in a way because you don't see any transgender cross-dressing YMCA singing libtard losers or whatever, you don't see that. So maybe that's good. All of these guys are ubermensch, really tough testosterone, red meat eating, you know what I mean? Maybe we're getting back to the masculine thing. Maybe this is good. Maybe we're getting back to what men are. These big guys with the covered in tattoos and tribal and the hats and the, maybe that's it. Do you not see this stuff? Do you not see this? This is so great. Is anybody out there to talk about it? No. You think Sean, Ryan, or whoever is going to say, Sean, are you doing this on purpose, or do you just realize, or is it because what happens is, remember, when there is a trend in the world of news, it will take off. I guarantee you, Megyn Kelly looks at her thing and she says, oh, this was good. Megan, you dropped 5 F-bombs and your numbers went up. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. It's this low, kind of like this angry, you know what I mean? That's where that's going. Let's talk about something. I want to go back to this algorithm stuff. Do you know that? And again, I just did this. I did this word. I talked about the N word. This is one of the most fascinating subjects ever. The N word is what we do in order to stop the use of a word. We give it such reverence that we elevate it. We make it more popular by virtue of the fact of how we don't talk about it. And when we say the N word, here's the best one, and I'm changing the subject. Because somebody says, is he changing the subject? Yeah, but I'll talk about Pete Hegseth. Don't worry. Not. Anyway, when you create this, almost like the apotheosis, the beatification of a word, you elevate this word, you ensure and instill and guarantee it will never be lost. It will never be lost. It'll always be in our society because we've created this mystique. We've created this love of it. It's this word we use. Oh my God. This is the best one. This is the most important thing. Okay. So then what we do is we then take it and we say, now here's the best part. You can use it, but you can't. So we even further complicate it. So I told you, I have loved the study of the word forever. And there are jokes that are so funny where they use the word as the punchline to point out the stupidity of using the word, but you have to use the word. Algorithms will not pick it up. Wouldn't do it. Because there's no nuance. There's no perspective. Nothing. Can't do it. And we live in a world like this. We're so scared, I guess, by it. It's and if you talk to somebody about, well, this is also creating the notion of prior restraint. We live in a world where we don't, I don't know what the word is. We have a chilling effect. We don't want people to speak. We want them to be very, very scared. Let me give you another example of something. There are people who live in this world. I don't know about you, but I always get this. Maybe you get it too. You've got to see this guy. You've got to see this video. You've got to see what so-and-so says. Listen to this person. Whatever you do, please listen to this. Listen to her talk about. Listen to her. Listen. Who it is? No. Just listen. Why aren't you talking about this? You've got to listen to this person. She talks about the mercurochrome, and I'm trying to be careful, and the children, and how they make, and they store the children, and they bury the children. You've got to listen to it. And there are these whole cottage industries of these people who put out this stuff that's based on nothing, absolutely no information whatsoever. But it's a thought that is so great. And nobody wants to talk about it. Certainly not here on God forbid, YouTube. And then they'll go to Rumble. And they go to Rumble. And then you can say whatever you want on Rumble. But Rumble doesn't have that unique, what am I trying to say? That variability that YouTube has. YouTube has everything. YouTube is the place to be. Because it's where most people pay attention to it. And pretty soon, you have another group of people who are on these other channels who are still talking about stuff that is so arcane, it only is limited See, I even can't talk about that because of the algorithm. You see how this thing works? You see how this thing works? It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. So anyway, so what do you think is going to happen ultimately with these people? What do you think is going to happen with this shooter feller? Have you looked at this? Have you investigated this? Have you looked anywhere into how what's happening? I love your theories are incredible. The theories are fantastic because if you sit back long enough, people will just come up with these ideas about stuff that I don't know where they get this from. But what do you think will happen? Why do you think it has been so long when somebody has been able to say nothing? Why do you think? Why do you think this is true? Why? Why do you think? Tell me. Tell me right now. What is the real reason for this? What do you think's the reason? Because nobody's talking about this. Nobody's asking these people what to do. They're just sitting back and you're just watching this. And nobody said, excuse me, you're the NYPD. I'm going back to this subject. Local news isn't going to do it. What are you doing? New York City, the police commissioner used to be the sanitation commissioner. She used to pick up salting ice after whatever. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. Do you understand what's happening? Look at this. The shooter is a Venezuelan, spelled wrong, gang member. He's protected by the Dems. Is this a joke? Is this a joke or is this like, oh, that's kind of an interesting thing? The Venezuelan this is a Venezuelan person who takes a who jumps on a bus, and the Dems are now. Remember, you've got to hold people accountable. You've got to say this. When do you think, this is the most important, when do you think, and I mean to tell you something, when do you think that you have to find a position? And I mean to tell you something. When do you think you're able to verify something other than to come up kind of with an idea? When do you think it takes? Tell me. When do you think? I find this absolutely the most incredible world. Now, I'm looking through some of these things which are sort of interesting. I'm looking through some here. Very, very, very interesting. Nobody is going to be asking the questions that I want to be asking, which is very, very critical. Nobody is going to be wanting, nobody is going to be, see, this is the best part about it. What's important to me and what's obvious to me, and this is incredible, important, is this idea that there is this, how do I say this? There is this important sense of tenacity that we have to come up with. And what we're doing is we have this kind of like this surface level thing, but I want to talk about, number one, what are we going to do? What's happening with Syria? What's the president going to do? What are we going to be doing now regarding other issues as far as free speech? I hope Elon comes in more because we need him, because when he talks about things, things get done. And we are wasting our time talking about stuff that frankly doesn't matter. Spandex says he sleeps with the fishes. We don't know. Maybe, sort of, I guess. This is the thing which I don't understand. What are we going to do with this? Well, let me tell you. The real issue is going to be that. That's number one. Number two, what are we going to do in terms of the president getting down to business and really doing what has to be done? What would be the first thing that you want to do? Tell me, what would be the very first thing you want to do if you ran the show? And I'm dead serious. And listen, I don't want anybody to feel that you have to be a part of this thing. Please, if any of this thing is a problem, there are so many other channels, and I think you know this. You can go there and you can listen and you can talk about Pete Hegseth. That's fine. Is the shooter part of an organized organization? Let me tell you again. Let me say this again to you. As I said before, there was a group of people, and again, I'm not accusing them, but this People's Action Institute and others. These are folks who reminded me so much of what used to be considered the Antifa group. People who came from seemingly normal backgrounds, but who were able to be moved into violent realms immediately. So in any event, here's the question, and this is very, very critical. The number one thing, Donna says it right now: close the border. You understand this? Close the border. This is the number one issue that we need to talk about. And I agree, Donna Furman, I guess. Mike, PF, is that they get this? Yeah. I agree with you 100%. Ursula says, stop the wars. Now, how do you do that? You tell Israel to stop the wars? Good luck with that. When does a hypothesis change into a conspiracy theory? This is fascinating. A hypothesis is what most people consider incorrectly a theory. A hypothesis is something that you have kind of like a guess. Like let's start off with this hypothesis that there was no George Washington. It's kind of like an open, what am I trying to say? Like a premise. A theory is something that you're able to be reproducible. Stop paying and funding the wars is one way. Leslie, are you going to be able to tell the Israeli lobby and the Adelsons and AIPAC and Marco Rubio that we're going to stop sending 2,000-pound bunker thermobaric, whatever, bombs to Israel or to Ukraine? Are you kidding me? You're going to tell that to the military industrial complex? Missing says Assad was always a clean-cut looking Muslim, no beard, looked always more Western in my eyes. He was trying to be an ophthalmologist when he was called back after his brother failed. They had to change the charter to allow him to be. He was like 34 years old. It's interesting. It's very interesting. And people say the only difference between a conspiracy theory and a truth is 6 months. Let me try it again. Remember that a conspiracy theory deals with two or more people working together. The conspiracy theory has meant or has been a part of this, what am I trying to say? This substitute for the word crazy. That's not a conspiracy theory. A conspiracy theory means that two or more people are involved in doing this. A conspiracy theory means that this shooter and someone else were involved. If this person acted alone, it's not a conspiracy theory because obviously he's acting alone. It doesn't mean, conspiracy does not mean crazy. Stop paying NATO fees for us and other countries also. Kim Hall, 100%. NATO is an abomination. Absolutely. I agree 100%. How do we make Americans smarter? How do we make them smarter? How? How do we teach people? It's not Syria per se, but it's the world. How do we do this? How do we tell people that the world has nothing to do with Joe and Mika or Joy Reid and what, Rachel Maddow said? That's not even important. How do we do this? Matt Fox says, end fluoride. Matt, why do you want to end fluoride? Why do you want to end Fluoride. Again, do you know why? Text says Sharon Stone is right. Immigrants should have passports. Is this a joke? Is this a joke? Are you serious? Do you understand this? Is this meant to be funny? See, I can't tell because, but this is why sometimes I wait too long. Matt Fox says it's poison. Other people say no because it's a neurotoxin. Other people say no, it's not. No, it's not. What are you talking about? We've used fluoride for years. Dentists have used it. We're doing fine. What are you talking? Where is the evidence that it's a neurotoxin? Where? Now I know you're going to sit there. You're going to say, well, and dentists, whatever, will say, "Excuse me, I'm in a world right now. I have a dental practice. Fluoride is not that big of a deal. If I thought it was negative, if I thought it was dangerous, I would tell you. Where did you get this idea from? Fluoride is a toxic substance. Again, Adam, you're repeating this. Where are you getting this from? Fluoride calcifies your pineal gland. One of my favorites, the great pineal gland, the third eye, right? What does that mean? What does this mean? This is what I don't understand. What is all this? You're just repeating the memes on YouTube. Tell me why you say this. Spandex says, for starters, abolish the Fed, IRS, cut federal workforce 50%, term limits, secure the border, sound money, peace, decentralized education, concealed carry reciprocity, photo ID to vote. Very, very good. Look at this. White people already have calcified pineal glands. You're just Mengele fluoride experiment. What does all this mean? Are you willfully ignorant? No, I'm asking you, show me where this is. Where is this? I know we're saying it. Where are the peer reviewed things? How am I going to confuse or tell? My question has always been, why does the government care so much about fluoride? You know who was against fluoride originally? It was the John Birch Society. Look at this. Lionel, you are simply repeating the position that fluoride is 100% safe. Have you actually looked at any studies? I'm not saying that. I'm asking you, Clint, show me the studies. Don't repeat bumper stickers. Tell me where this is. I'm not saying it is. I've often saying, why does the government care about fluoride? Why is the fluoride that I'm drinking, it's not coating my teeth? Is it in my bloodstream? What I'm saying is people will say things. There is a group of people, and let me see if I can say this without getting around it. And they refer to a substance that ends in the word chrome. And they talk about it all day long. And I ask them, where do you get this from? And they say, well, what are you talking about? I said, no, you keep talking about this. Where is it from? Well, you know, the Hillary Clinton. No, I don't. Where do you get this from? Well, you know, the wiener. No, again, on this prior, I did this whole thing about the wiener. There's this stuff I can't talk about here. And I ask him, how do you know what you know? Where do you get this? I go through this all the time. I know people who talk to you all that they say this stuff and say, no, you don't understand. Cholesterol is good for you. And I'm thinking, where do you get your study? It's this YouTube guy, and I will tell me where it is. I don't know where it is. Is it peer reviewed? Well, the peer review is ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense because we're all we're all carnivores. Where did you get that from? Well, I don't know. And you're repeating. So my question is, how do you know what you know? How do you know this? And I'm not, tell me where, send me the information. Don't send me please don't send me a YouTube. Please. Tell me something peer reviewed. Show me. Where is it? That's all. Look at this. Your brain requires animal fat to be healthy. Bullshit. Your brain requires animal fat? Do you know what see, this is where people don't know what they're talking. The number one thing you need probably is glucose, but glucose causes cancer. We just say things. This is the best part about it. That people just sit back and they say, I don't really know much of anything. I just say things. I like this. Look, I'm in the no fluoride group. And it's probably not good. I don't care. But I'm sorry. Pineal, the third eye. Oh, I'm with that. I like that. Is it true? I don't know if it's true, but a lot of other people think it's true. So I kind of like that. I'm going to go with that. Now, I don't know anybody who advocates fluoride. I don't know the first thing about it. I can't understand. Again, why does the government care about our teeth? But you just can't come up with, tell me something. Like, well, that's the reason why. These crazy doctors who say, we have to give people, these young people, puberty blockers before such. It's like, where'd you get that from? And there are people on the left who say, well, this is no. Where did you get that from? Well, I disagree with them, so they're full of it. So my question is, how do you know what you know? I guarantee you, there's nobody here today who's going to be researching any of this. Guarantee you. Not one person. Well, animal fat. Animal fat? Animal fat. Yeah, animal fat. Your brain needs animal fat. Where'd you get that from? I don't know. Are you going to research this? I don't research things. I don't even look up words. What are you talking about? I don't do that. I just like that fact. Because I eat bacon and I like that, and I'm going to stick with that. Well, I don't like bacon, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to take this thing that I think I read about how animal fat makes us whatever it is. Why? Because I like that. And I like that pineal gland. Why? Because I'm kind of a spiritual person. And I don't really know what the pineal gland is, but it's pine. I saw something on IlluminatiBot.com or something, and it's about the thing, and I kind of like that. And the stars and the dawn. I'm gonna go with that one. I'm gonna go there. Really? Yeah, I'm gonna go there. I kind of like that one. Remember when people were saying years ago that aspartame. Well, that was Searle, I think it was, and that was Rumsfeld, and aspartame did something. Where did you get that from? Any peer reviewed on that? No. I just heard that, and I don't like Rumsfeld, and I think he's kind of a jerk. So I'm gonna go there for. That's kind of where I am. Okay, all right. Now, what you should be thinking about more than anything right now is what about people zapping in and stealing your data? Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you checked your devices for malware? Malware attacks have increased 643% since 2020, with approximately 10 million personal and corporate devices compromised with data stealing malware in just the last year alone. Additionally, 19.8% of computers face at least one malware attack annually. This emphasizes the critical need for individual users to protect themselves, their devices, and their data. This is why I use today's sponsor, Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro, and I love the peace of mind it gives me. Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro is an award-winning antivirus with real-time protection, malware removal, ad blocking, scheduled scans, multi-device protection, and more that stops malicious downloads in their tracks. Without Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro, I would risk my finances, banking details, personal data, and more getting into the hands of cyber criminals. Thanks again to Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro for sponsoring today's extravaganza. And do yourself a favor and sign up for a free 7-day free trial, of Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro during their early Black Friday sale happening now, and get up to 75% off. Yes, you heard that. Up to 75% off. Only at virtualshield.com/Lionel. Once again, that's virtualshield.com/Lionel. I took, during that, I took 30 seconds and I'm reading the following on fluoride. Remember, the people who say the most about fluoride they've never, I don't read a study. I'm not going to, what are you talking about? I don't read it. No, I'm not going to read a study. What do you mean read a study? What do I look like to you? Read a study? No. Stop. Okay, listen to this one. How about fluoride in our toothpaste? Let's talk about that one. This is from Dr. Greger. I like the nutritionfacts.org. I think he's the best because he also gives the citation for this. We can benefit our teeth every time we brush with a fluoride-containing toothpaste. Fluoride is thought to protect teeth by improving the intrinsic stability of the mineral structure of dental enamel. A recent meta-analysis of nearly 100 randomized controlled trials of fluoride toothpaste involved more than 10,000 people, found high certainty evidence, quote unquote, that toothpaste containing the typical amount of fluoride reduces tooth decay significantly more than non-fluoride toothpaste in both children and adults. Now, next, fluoride in our water. Now it's a different story. Adding fluoride to drinking water is more controversial. Growing evidence about the adverse effects of fluoride on brain development led to the National Toxicology Program's draft conclusion that fluoride should now be, quote, presumed to be a cognitive neurodevelopmental hazard to humans. Out of an abundance of caution, pregnant and breastfeeding women want to avoid fluoridated water. Now, let's talk about the fluoridationists versus the pro-fluoridationist. Ironically, it was the anti-fluoridationists who were accused of their anti-scientific attitudes, but now it's the pro-fluoridationists who may be ignoring evidence that doesn't conform to their beliefs. How can society get the cavity-preventing benefits of fluoride without the risks? Since the primary risk arises from systemic absorption, yet the primary benefits arise from topical contact with our enamel, we can safely reap the rewards by using fluoride toothpaste and mouthwashes. For substantiation, okay, so this is what I was saying before. How is it, and these are the questions you have to ask, how is it that my drinking it, this systemic use of it, is going to be affecting the hardening of enamel, which is done topically? That's the issue. That's the issue. This is, what do I say? It's called critical thinking. Sparky, by the way, who's always a doog person, says, trying to look out for you, Lionel, not complaining about having to write doog, cuts down on your revenue and interaction. If people's efforts to super chat are frustrated. Oh, no. I'm explaining this. Did Erdogan realize how effective Al-Qaeda would be this time when he turned them loose in Syria? Was he just trying to get Assad's attention? I was, by the way, listening. We're going back to that issue right now. Erdogan has been, now remember, Erdogan, Sparky, as you know, has been the enemy and not. He plays all sides against the middle. Once he wants into now NATO. No, he wants out of NATO. He wants to go into BRICS. Who knows? Oh, no. Remember this. Now, remember something which is also important. Sparky, how is it that we can get the same amount of people interested in the world as we do the pineal gland? What is the pineal gland? Anybody know what it is? What is it? I just found out. This is the simplest. Okay. This is the best one. Anybody? What does, because I find this fascinating, because this goes to me about the epistemology of things. What is a pineal gland? What is it? Oh, thank you. Tom says a gland. Thank you, Tommy. What is a pineal? Third eye. Bullshit. This is just hocus pocus stuff. That's what people say. I don't need somebody. No, what is it? Where the spirit enters the body. Hang on, where is it? Where the spirit enters the body, the kundalini. Soul consciousness. The gland that produces melatonin. Okay, now look at this. Try this. This is your pineal gland, also called the pineal body or the epiphysis cerebri, is a tiny gland in your brain that's located beneath the back part of the corpus callosum. Corpus callosum, that's that wonderful connector between, left and right. It is part of your endocrine system and secretes the hormone melatonin. Your pineal gland's main job is to help control the circadian cycle of sleep and wakefulness by secreting melatonin. The pineal gland is shaped like a tiny pine cone, which is how it got its name, pineal gland. However, it's pronounced pineal. The pineal gland is the least understood gland of the endocrine system, and it was the last part of the endocrine system to be discovered. This, by the way, from that crazy group called the Cleveland Clinic. Your endocrine system is a series of glands that create and secrete. The following glands have been made up to be part of your endocrine system: hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal, pineal, pancreas, ovaries, and testes. And it goes in. What does a pineal do? Can a person live without a pineal gland? Yes, you can live without your pineal gland. However, your body may have a difficult time with sleeping patterns and other physiologic functions relating to circadian rhythm. In very rare cases, what is it made of? Pineal tumors, pineal gland calcification. Okay, but where did this come from? Where did this third eye? Let's look. Pineal, look at this. See what I'm doing right now? 90% of the people never do. Never. The part that makes you say, this is interesting. Nah, what? Well, I was going to go look it up. Why don't you? I'll send you a video. You're going to love this. The pineal gland is often called the third eye because of the location in the brain and its connection to light and spirituality. The pineal gland is light connection. The pineal gland's circadian rhythms are regulated by light through the retina. Spiritual connection. In many spiritual traditions, the third eye is a metaphorical inner eye that represents enlightenment and the ability to see beyond the ordinary perception. Okay. It has been a mysterious organ because it was the last endocrine gland to be discovered, and scientists aren't still fully sure of its function. But you see, there are people, as there are the atheists in the world, who are very sad and lonely, people who just do not see any example, any reference to God or the like. There are other people who love everything spiritual, the third eye, channeling, crystals, reincarnation, phrenology, palmistry, the tarot cards, whatever. It's one of those things which is fascinating. So the question now is, why do some people do this? Other people are spiritual. And when you are spiritual, like have you ever met people who are into ufology? They don't just sit there and say, well, there was some interesting. Dr. Greer, that guy Greer, is a perfect example. Instead of saying, well, there was that TikTok. There was, of course, Rendlesham Forest. There was this, there was that. There was all this other kind of jazz. Oh, no, 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 no. They go a step further. They go beyond. No, you see, they're trying to speak to us because they love this topic. Others will say, well, then you got the people like he's going to lose so much favor. Neil deGrasse Tyson is already talking about women and men, and they're not. He is losing it. He's going to say goodbye to his popularity because he's entering areas he doesn't belong. But anyway, because I think he's a tool of the left, because he had his own particular sexual little allegations, which were since resolved or disproved. But in any event, but he's out there as well. But going back to this, you got to meet these people. And there are and when you say this to them, the pineal gland folks, instead of saying, you know what, let me look into this. Oh no. They say, no, you don't understand. This is my belief system. This is like you telling me there's no God or no, I like this. And F you if you think and this is what you run into. Same thing with the Trump people. Same thing with the TDS people. Sparky says, there was a dentist on every corner until fluoride in the water. Well, listen, I don't want to, again, Sparky, here's the question. And I think you understand this because you're a very intelligent man. Topical application versus systemic drinking it. Two completely different stories. That's all. But what I'm saying to you is I want to know more about this. I want to know more. One time I had a client. No, excuse me. It was a guy who was a prosecutor. And he claimed to have that he wasn't fighting the cop. He had an epileptic seizure. So I had to ask, well, could a seizure result in a violent reaction? What causes a seizure? What are the signs of a seizure? And I had to talk to doctors and look under the medical literature. And it was fascinating. And what could trigger it? And believe it or not, during the course of this, sometimes there's a thing called photophobia where people who are having seizures cannot take the light. And also sometimes the lights can trigger. Anyway, make a long story short, I have always had, and I'm sorry, a natural tendency to say, well, I want to know more about that. Today, we live in a world where no. Enjoy the meme. Here's a picture of this artist rendition of the mind. And isn't that wonderful? The third eye. Oh, I like that. Yeah, just stick with that. Okay. Don't try to look this up. No, don't look it up. Just go with that. The same way, I can't stand atheists. Hate them. Because they say there is no God. And I'm saying, wait a minute, excuse me. I tend to be irreligious. I also don't speak French. Where do you say there's no God? Well, it's ridiculous. It's prehistoric and it's mythical. I said, where? That's your opinion. Tell me where there's no God, or tell me where there's no evidence, or just tell me other than the fact that you're an atheist and you don't like these people, which is what it is eventually. Same thing we see all the time with Trump. Trump is a convicted felon. No, he's not. And they say this over and over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over and over. You understand this? I don't understand. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that Bobby Kennedy said, Bobby Kennedy, the first thing he's going to do is fluoride. I don't like Bobby Kennedy got onto heroin. Bobby Kennedy was a heroin addict. Now, I think it's great that he's off of that. I hope he is. Would you like to talk about that? He's telling me about fluoride, and he was doing heroin. I didn't do heroin. Now, does that make any difference? Well, that's different. Why is it different? Why? Why? What? What does it mean? Sometimes there are very interesting things. There are twin studies that nobody can figure out. There are things that twins do. They involve themselves in a level of consciousness, for lack of a better word, that nobody can understand. I don't know how you study it. You can't. There are things that mothers can do, mothers' connection with children. There are some things that either we cannot measure, are not subject to measuring, or are frankly in another realm. Explain love. We still don't even understand that. But nobody wants to talk about love. You don't need some old cave drawing of a third, of the heart. And no, that's probably more fascinating than anything else. What I'm trying to say is, look at this. Freemason mystery religions from the Tower of Babel, the first empire in Babylon after the Great Flood. I don't know what this means, but this is good. I love this one. So what is your point? You know you have made it when somebody says, what is your point? Thank you, Fred. You know you've made it. You know this. This is interesting. Why do negative statements stick more than positive statements with repetition? That might be one of the most interesting questions. That is the most interesting. Heroin doesn't usually make you more stupid. No, but doing heroin means you're stupid. Think about this. Who in their right mind? Think about this. You're in a world where because he's like what, 4 years older than me. We remember people like, Charlie Parker, people of heroin overdose. Heroin? You use heroin? Meth? You got to ask yourself, why do people use meth? What is going on here? Last night, Mrs. L and I were walking, and there's this cannabis place, and there were people in there. You should have seen this, going up to this kiosk and looking for their cannabis. And I know that the heroin, the cannabis you're getting today is far more powerful in terms of THC than it ever was. It was grown naturally. Does that have any long-term effects on you? No. Does any of these people care? No, they don't care. It's because it feels good, and that's the way it goes. So anyway, I love this. This is so interesting. This is something which bothers people. This is something which bothers a lot of people. And what it is when you go back and you read this later, people do not like to just sit and think and muse. They don't like that. They don't like to sit. I would love to do nothing but a show where the only thing people commented on, I know people are watching this later on, they can't read the comments, but is to just have a question. A question. No statements, a question. Just questions. It's the questions that are the most fascinating. So anyway, there we are with that. So I say, Sparky, thank you, my friend. An excellent point. Spandex, Raul Rodriguez, thank you. And for your thoughts and comments. And today, I want you to use this incredible machine you have and look up third eye, pineal gland, spirituality. What is the evidence of this? What are the questions? And spend your time not talking about Pete Hegseth, but really get into this. If you really, really find fluoride and whatever the subject is as fascinating as you purport, research it. It's okay. You can go as far and as deep as you want. Learn. Don't just have somebody say, well, there's a good video. Forget the video. Forget it. Spandex says, he was a child when his father was shot in the head. I would be surprised if he did not use heroin. Oh, that's ridiculous. No. John Kennedy did. Carolyn Kennedy, nobody uses heroin. No. No. He was also, listen, he is, for lack of a better word, I know nobody wants to do this because you lionize him, but he's a very immature man. He has never been able to handle women. He looks at women as very strange. You know, that weird story. Remember the woman who supposedly sent him pictures from the near, anyway, they crushed her. But this is a guy like Trump a little bit, but not as bad. But the whole Kennedy family have never been able to handle women. Ted Kennedy was despicable and vile. It goes back. It's their whole thing. It's their whole way of thinking. You know what I mean? It's their whole thing. I also believe, by the way, that drug addiction also rewires your brain. And that's something which we can talk about maybe some other time. So whatever it was, you might have said, I'm going to use heroin because I'm a part of the 60s and I'm a rich, young kind of kid. And I want to be like William Burroughs and the B generation and do heroin or heron. As some of my clients will say, I don't know. There's all kinds of, but Bobby Kennedy's real problem is his relationship with women. Anybody who writes down and keeps track of women he's abetted. Come on, man. Come on. Okay. So I want you just to think. Start thinking. Don't answer the question. More questions. Give me 5 questions before you make a statement. And please don't just send me a video. Sometimes the video is very good, but that doesn't mean anything. I want you to investigate yourself. And that may involve watching some videos, but just think. We don't think enough. All right, my friends, that's it. I've had enough. An hour and 30 minutes. This has been terrific. Have a great and a glorious day. We'll see you tonight at the usual time. Don't forget, follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya.